Good afternoon YouTube and everyone else watching this video. I hope I find you safe and well in these trying times that we are still in, but hopefully coming to an end of now with the vaccine rollout and everything. So I hope you'll all get your jabs pretty soon and we can all go back to enjoying ourselves. I'd like to bring you the second instalment of this charge case that I've just built. The first video I shot the other day was also showing you the underside of the deck, if you like, and how I'd obviously mounted everything to it. This video is basically going to be a walkthrough then of the actual case itself and how it looks and how it's going to perform and everything else. So as you can see, nice orange case again. I must admit I do quite like the colour orange as well as the blue. So we've got my obligatory, and it's upside down for a reason, my little laser etched plaque on the top. And the reason it's upside down is then when you then open the lid, it then shows the right way, so people obviously around you then will obviously see the name rather than it being upside down. So let me open the lid, show you the inside. I might have to pull it forward a bit, and there we go. This case is obviously housing an ISDT P30. So it's their dual 1000 watt charger off the top of my head. Yep, it is 1000 watts. With obviously Bluetooth control as well. And I've had a quick play with it and it works remarkably well. So you download the app to your phone or tablet and then you can essentially control the charger from that. So it's quite a nice nifty little charger. And obviously very capable with the power ratings and stuff, and very small form factor at the same time. So in honest terms, excuse me, it does kind of get lost in this deck, realistically. I could bring the size of the case down slightly and obviously still create a decent sized case. But this is the normal size I run with, and there's good reason for that as well, realistically. And that is the customer spec that he obviously wanted to charge the batteries on the deck. So I've literally brought the connections out. And you will have seen this if you've watched the other video, obviously the way the wires come out, the balancing output for the side of the charger is on the side, so that goes off to here, and then obviously the main charge wires come here via an XT60 at the front, and then obviously to the 4mm binding posts there. And this obviously then follows a similar sort of convention to what I've used myself in my little twin ISDT Q8 case. So you've got the 4mm banana jacks, and then obviously then the 9-pin JST-XH, and as you can see I've modified it there so you can also plug in the 2S all the way up to 8S over there, kind of thing. And I haven't stuck them down yet, they are still loose, but I did obviously then the little laser etched legend. So that's obviously there, and obviously I'm not sticking those down. I'm going to just put them in an envelope and tape them in the lid so that when the customer receives the case, he can decide if he wants to use them or not. So let's draw back a bit and go through it. Obviously, as you saw then from the other video, we've got my excellent ice meter protection circuit on the front. In theory, wasn't strictly needed because it's not an iCharger Duo. To my knowledge so far, they are the only charger that can suffer if one of the power supplies fails, but the ice meter does bring with it some very nice features for charge case use, and of course adds that little bit extra bit to it, if you like, to any charge case build or even a standalone power supply. It just looks nice, you know, it gives you a little bit more feedback and what have you with what's going on. So cooling fan control is obviously done through that via the temperature sensor that is mounted just under this part of the deck, so it's obviously monitoring the temperature within the case. And then we've got my usual twin 9733 radial fans standing upright, which obviously fire up through the grills cut into the 10mm polypropylene deck. Again, I'm using the 10mm polypropylene. I do quite like this material. And of course then, as you saw in the other video, everything then is bolted to it, which was the first time I'd tried this sort of setup with a case like this, and it's working out really nicely, so that's good. This case, excuse me, I haven't had to drill or make any holes in the case. Ordinarily, I probably would have put the charge ports on the side, maybe. Perhaps that's something that I would do perhaps on an even smaller case kind of thing, to obviously, because there'd be limited space on the deck kind of thing. But on this one, there was more than enough. So we've run with this. So at the back, got the usual twin USB charge ports kind of thing, and this is the one that's got the little voltmeter in the middle. I've got that coming off of the first power supply only, so it's only getting fed 12 volts, so it will obviously show 12.1 volts there. AC connector then on the deck, nice and simple. So if I get my AC lead, admittedly, I can plug it in, turn it on at the wall. Now the ice meter is obviously going to go through its startup routine. Let's see if I can get the screen this time. Oh, there we go, yep. And we're on the strip of green LED. That was the only thing I couldn't mount on the deck. Normally I'd probably, should I say, double side the strip of LEDs onto the underside of the deck so it fires down into the case and then obviously glows from that, but I couldn't. Like a fool, I didn't account for the strip of LEDs across the front when I was wiring it, and of course when I was putting things I could have moved everything back a centimetre, but I didn't. So that's the only other connection from the deck to the case itself, and obviously that's all internal, so that's nice and simple. And I left the wire a little bit longer, so if need be, if the deck needs to be lifted up, you can lift the deck up a couple of inches, get your hand in, pull the single JST XH 4-pin connector out the back of the ice meter and lift the entire deck away to obviously work on it as needed. So the ice meter is obviously on, but that obviously then the power supplies are in standby, so AC is connected to them and they are live, but they're not outputting anything yet. So if I press the control button once, that then obviously starts the DC output, and you can just about audibly hear the fans on the power supplies. I think they just ramp up a little bit more there as it comes on. So there we go. V2, that's the first screen that comes up, and obviously that's the combined voltage of the two power supplies. I think if I scroll to the left, we go, yep, V1, 12 volt first power supply. And off the top of my head, I can't remember which way round is what. Yep, we've got the 12 volt one on this side and the upper DC floated one on this side, on the underside of the deck. So yeah, 24.95 volts combined. Temperature up. Current case temperature is 20 degrees inside there, and I think I've set the fan to come on at 22.5. So if I keep going, overheat shutdown 34 degrees C. That works quite well in the UK. This is also a UK bound case, so that's staying in Blighty. And today it was sunny. It's now a little bit overcast again. Oh yeah, there you go. The fans, cooling fans, are going to come on at 22.5. To be honest with you, that's quite low. I could probably go up a little bit higher to around the 25 degree mark and not have any significant impact on the components in the case or anything like that, but I've set it provisionally quite low. I'd rather have it come on sooner rather than later. IMAX, that's the, as you've probably seen, if anyone watched my ice meter video from going back about 5 or 6 years now, that's the maximum current the ice meter will allow to be drawn before it then shuts down due to overcurrent. That can go all the way up to 100 because the current shunt on it is 100 amp capable, but I always put it at 85. Can always go up or down as need be. Next one, minimum I current. Right, now this is the one, this is a good one. This one, as before, this one sets the point at which the LEDs start to cycle their colours. So at any amperage at 0.85 and below, the lights are on solid green, because effectively then there's no current being drawn and the charging cycle is finished. So from a visual perspective, you look over and you see green, charge cycle finished. Anything above that, then the LEDs will start to cycle. I can't necessarily show that until I put a LiPo on it, which I haven't got ready, admittedly. OVP, over voltage protection shutdown. So if the combined output of the two power supplies got over 28 volts, it would shut down and also give you an error. Likewise, UVP, under voltage protection, and this is the important one. If one of the power supplies were to fail and the output voltage start to drop by half, so by 12 volts effectively, the other one is then switched off within milliseconds. I think I've not measured it. I'll have to speak to XYGAX Steve Smith and see if he can give me a figure on that, but it's very, very quick, and that's what obviously protects the iCharger Duos. So keep going. Current, it's not pulling anything at the moment. Normally in the charge that can bounce around a little bit, and we have, in conversation with Steve, we did smooth out the refresh rate of this quite a bit, but if you go too far it becomes too lazy, too slow if you like. And the way the chargers work, in the way they're constant current, constant voltage, that can fluctuate sometimes, as whereas my resistive load, my hairdryer load, normally gives a solid 19.9 amps or whatever. It's quite good, so that's a good indication of what's going on with the chargers, but it's also a handy little tool just to see what's going on. There we go, fans are on, there we go, and they're running. They're not the quietest, but they do shift an awful lot of air, and in fact if I put my hand over the inlet slots, you can actually feel the air being pulled in past your hand, which is good. That's what you want. You certainly don't want the charge case getting too hot inside. You want it to be nice and cool with fresh air. So let's go around again. And there we go. We're back to V1 and 12.55 and 24.95 combined voltage. So this one's going to be quite a nice little case at the end of the day. We haven't really gone too far. I mean, there was talk of a lid tidy originally, but we haven't run with that at the moment, so the lid is obviously quite bare. That'll probably potentially be filled with any cables and charge leads over time, either using Velcro to hold it in place, or we may end up obviously adding a lid tidy eventually over time. But that's the beauty about this, and how I work and how I offer my cases, if you like. They can be full on to start with, or they can be built up over time. And I think the plan here with this customer is he wants to get the case, he wants to use it, see how he gets on with it, and potentially what he might want to add to it to make it work better for him. And I'm down with that. That's brilliant. I have kept, likewise, this customer and a few others, I've obviously been keeping them waiting, unfortunately, because obviously I've got the big charge rack builds behind me, and the second one is 90% done. We're still just waiting on the chargers, and then obviously I've got the third one of that to start as well. So I'm going to start, I've got another couple of cases in the queue of obviously email orders, so I'm going to be doing those in the background at the same time. But I just wanted to give you a view on this one, because this is the first P30 case I've done, and I'm very pleased. Obviously, again, it's recessed in from the back. I think I did the recess 6mm, so there's a 4mm lip of the 10mm polypropylene there, and then of course then a 3D printed holder in a form of a kind of like a star shape, if you like, 4-point star that is bolted underneath, and it's got all the M5 inserts, which you'll probably see from any pictures that I'll post on the back end of this video. And again, we've replicated the connections on the outside and nearly mirrored them, so you could, you know, so when you looked at it, it kept the same. But I wanted to keep the same format and the same layout. So main charge points, balance port, vape charge points, balance port. I could have mirrored it, so it kind of kept the main charge ports on the outside and what have you. But I thought I'd keep it the same. So at least what connections you make on this side are exactly mirrored on that side. So you don't have to think, oh yeah, I've got to plug this one in that side, that one in that way. It just all falls the same. And as you can see, actually, even though the LEDs aren't connected to the polypropylene deck, the brightness of them, it's amazing. And this is another reason why I quite like the natural polypropylene look, because it catches the light and just creates these little shadows for you and stuff, with the green LED, for example, here shining through the air inlet slots. It's quite a nice little material for this sort of thing, and it's a nice little addition. I haven't actually sat down yet and played around by sinking LEDs into the material specifically, by drilling blind holes, if you like, and then firing the LED light into it, because that would make it even better. But that is something perhaps to try on another build. At the moment, I'm just obviously working through orders as they come in, and I'm very thankful for the orders and customers' patience while they bear with me on this. So with that, there ain't much more to go through on this one, so I think I'll leave you for now. Take care of yourselves, see you soon, and for all your charging needs, give me a shout. Take care of yourselves, bye bye.